Hi guys, welcome back to EuroLeague and welcome to European Extravaganza, a segment where we'll be discussing all of Champions League's key matches every round, and let's get into it without further ado. Kicking off at Bilbao in match day 1, we saw Arsenal win 2-0 away from home in a pretty tough game. Tough place to go, Bilbao. They've had a strong start to the season, but Arsenal did just about enough to win the game. Again, not very convincing, but I don't think Arsenal are ever that convincing. It took them two late goals, two super subs to rescue the game and win them the game. Leandro Trossard and Martinelli were undoubtedly the moments, provided the moments of difference, a moment of quality they were after. But a pretty tough game, honestly, because I expected that, but I still expect better from a team from midfield that consists of a lot of money spent, £100 million man Declan Rice, and still again that midfield struggling against Vesca, against Trezeguet, they got outplayed. The midfield, you know, they were really poor. I thought defensively as well, they were under the cosh in the first half. Arsenal, but with Bilbao, my only qualm, like even before the game, was the fact that they lacked decisiveness. They lacked the final product, and that's what hurt them at the end the most. And that's why they couldn't get any result on the night. I think that's where Arsenal always had the edge, and they did enough at the end really, but not convincing again. I think they Arsenal should be doing better. Sure, it's a tough place to go, and win is a win, and it's the first match day, but I would like and I would want and expect to see more from Arsenal. They should be able to produce more football, but instead it's the same old. Um, but they get the win. I guess that's all that matters for now. Strong start for them, heading on to Turin for me, which is a very early contender for game of the season in the Champions League, in the football season in general, because this was an absolute classic that no one saw coming because it was nil-nil. Can you believe it, at half time? Um, Not a lot of action, honestly. It was quite a stagnant first half. Both teams kind of cancelled each other out, but the second half really, sprung into light. There was so much action, it was very hard to keep up with. It all started courtesy Karim Adeyemi with a brilliant goal, really strong finish um, in the bottom corner to get the better of Di Gregorio. Uh, then we saw Yildiz score a fantastic goal. I mean, Kenan Yildiz, I think, what can we say? He is that good of a talent. One of the few players, I think Bayern will regret letting go. He absolutely smashed that youth level as well, and his name was always around the scene. But for him to come to light this season, I'm so happy because he deserves it. He's that good a talent, and I think that's the one thing Ego Tudor has done right. With the 3-4-2-1, it really profiles Kenan the best way possible. He's playing in his best position. He is the main man, and he's delivering on every front so far. So he scored a fabulous goal into the top right corner. Really, if we look at it, Kobo had no chance, honestly. It was that good a finish. Felix Mecha, right from kickoff, gave Dortmund the lead again. Again, a very good goal, good finish. He's been outstanding as well. I think he's been a really strong signing, top player, and yeah, great goal, good goal. And then I think the turning point though of the game was just before actually the goals started flying in was Dusan Vlahovic, because Jonathan David was near enough invisible. But since Vlahovic came, he totally changed the complexion of the game. He scored had almost immediate impact. Great goal again, put through on goal by Kenan Yildiz, and he did the rest. To be honest, yeah, quality, undeniable. I think he's still Juve's best striker just on a quality standpoint, even if he's not in the club or Tudor's plans. Moving on though, Jan Couto got Dortmund back into the lead, of course. Very happy to see him score. He's a very talented wing back playing in his best position, and a good finish, a very smart finish. I think Diego should be doing better. Of course, he didn't have the best of nights. A rare bad night for him, but Porto still capitalized. And then Dortmund really should have killed the game, should have won the game when they got a penalty that never was. Uh, and Ben Sebaini put it away very calmly to give Dortmund, which should have been what should have been an unassailable lead at 4-2, heading into added time, and we were 4 minutes away from full time when Dusan Vlahovic cut the deficit by one. Great cross by Kalulu from the right, and Vlahovic, striker instincts at his best. Great one at the near post, emphatic finish of the post. And then, would you believe it, of all people, Lloyd Kelly, the former Newcastle and Bournemouth man, scored in successive games, first against Inter, now Dortmund, to rescue a point from the trenches for Juventus. Great cross by Vlahovic into the danger area, and Kelly did the rest. It was a really strong run. He timed it perfectly, timed it to perfection. He was onside, and Kobo had no chance. And Dortmund, lo and behold, capitulated again in quite dramatic fashion. I mean, we've seen it so very often. It's still surprising. We've seen Dortmund capitulate and bottle leads, but to do it again to this extent, conceding two goals in the final 2 minutes essentially of the game is quite a missed opportunity. Even if the game for me was rather fair, I thought Juventus played really well. Honestly, I don't think they ever really deserved to be 4-2 down. I think that scoreline definitely flattered Dortmund a fair bit, but once you're there, you have to see it out, and Dortmund couldn't do that. So, but we were the winners. Football was the winner because it set up a real classic and one that we'll remember for a long time as a fabulous game, and we saw goals of the highest order. So incredible showing in Turin. Moving on to Real Madrid and the Bernabeu, where they took on Marseille and they ran out 2-1 winners courtesy a double penalty by Kylian Mbappe. And yeah, I mean Real Madrid do Real Madrid things. Honestly, I knew it was always going to be a tough game. Marseille are a good side. Um, but again, it was far from convincing. They just about get the job done, like they always do in this competition, especially at home. They just know how to find a way, and they did that by hook or by crook. I thought Marseille was a better team first half. They rightfully opened the scoring. Tim Weah, really strong finish. And Marseille deserved to be in the lead, 1-0. But then what happened was not fair because for me both penalties are so soft. The Mbappe one, you can say he's kind of won it. There's contact, but again, it's minimal contact. And Mbappe, that's one thing he does really well. He capitalizes on any contact, and he wins the penalty. He dispatches it away. Second half again was very even. Not a lot between the sides. I thought Marseille were very good value. They looked very good to get a point, and it was a pretty open game. So there was nothing to say they couldn't have scored another. But before that, of course, Carvajal got sent off. He lost his head. It's his first Champions League red card, which was quite a bizarre stat for me. Like it's really bizarre to see him being his first. But again, bit of petulance you don't expect from a seasoned experienced campaigner like him once he came on for Trent, who got injured. And then for me, I thought the worst moment arguably of the round of the first match day of the first round was the second penalty. Again, I just don't know how it can ever be a penalty. If you saw the game, you know, like what more is Murillo supposed to do? He's up against Vinicius. He slides for a tackle and he wins the ball, but somehow the ball ricochets onto his hand, and his hand is in perfectly natural position. There's nothing he can do. He has no control over his hand. He can't physically you know put away his hand there, and somehow, like, inexplicably, it's a penalty. But we know Real Madrid and UEFA, and this relationship they have, per se, especially in this competition, not for the first time and won't be for the last. Under dubious circumstances, Real Madrid get the rub of the green, and they put it away. They put the game away. They get the win. But I feel really I really feel for Marseille. I thought they were really hard done by. In the game, they were very comfortable, and they went toe to toe, and they looked all good, all secure to get a point, even all 3 points because they played the last 20 with a man up, um, but not to be again. They just found a way like they always do. So very unlucky for Marseille, but I think they put a great showing in and good signs for them. I'm sure they'll give a lot of top sides a run for the money, and they'll look to qualify into the next round. But Madrid get the job done. Moving into Tottenham Villa, not much to write about, honestly. Very dull affair uh, at White Hart Lane. Just a really, both teams really cancelled each other out, and it was very fortuitous. They were very fortuitous, Tottenham, to round winners, because I don't think they deserve to win at all. I thought Villarreal were the better side, if any, but I thought a draw would have been a fair result. But if not for a really poor error by Luis Junior, it's just unacceptable. Really, it's inexplicable how he messed the goal, how he got it so wrong. And again, I feel for Villarreal because they didn't deserve to lose that game by any means. Yet they lost, So fine margins again, like we know in the Champions League, any mistake and it'll get capitalized and punished upon, and that's what we saw. Unfortunately for Villarreal. On the second day, Wednesday saw firstly Inter go away to Amsterdam, a place, a very happy hunting ground. They've never lost in Netherlands. They have a really strong record, and they continued that again. Convincing win over Ajax, who are still again work in progress. Of course, you have Heitinga, take over the charge over from Farioli this season, and I don't think they look all that good. They look rather mediocre at best, but they're into a really strong. They could have scored easily a couple more, but very strong performance. Marcus Thuram put the finishing touches um, for Inter, and Çalhanoğlu was the provider, and a very comfortable win, as comfortable as it gets, really. Uh, one of the main shows was at the Allianz Arena, where Bayern Munich ran 3-1 winners to Chelsea, and yeah, really good game, honestly, really open game, um, end-to-end stuff. But I thought again Bayern's quality just shone through at the end. Really, if you look at their sensational start in the Bundesliga as well, I thought they were so strong again. They just have goals in abundance, and they got the job done. First goal, bit fortuitous. Chalobah own goal. He got it kind of wrong. I mean, it's just all unfortunate. Good ball in by Olise, and yeah, Chalobah just couldn't help himself there. The second one was a penalty. Harry Kane again, just profiting off that. Yeah, poor poor challenge by Caicedo. It was a penalty, and Harry Kane dispatched it as we expect. To Cole Palmer scored soon after. Great goal, great finish. And it was an open game, at 2-1 Chelsea. Even at 2-0, they were in the game. I thought they were a little bit hard done by to be 2-0 down, because they didn't play all that terribly the first half an hour at least. But they got back into it straight away, and then it was quite open at 2-1. But for me, again, just the quality they have. The third goal again came under fortuitous circumstances. Malagusto, his pass back went all wrong, and Harry Kane doesn't need a second invitation to score. He dispatched it as we've come to expect from him. Really emphatic finish again. Sanchez stood no chance. And before you know, it was 3-1 Bayern Munich, and then there was no coming back from that. It could have been 4 or 5 after that, because the Bayern really opted up in the last 20, especially. I thought they were far the better side. But Chelsea, they tried to replicate the same formation, same structure they did against PSG in the Club World Cup final, but Bayern, are just playing on a different level right now. I thought they were really strong. Kimmich was great. Pavlovic defensively again. Upamecano was outstanding. Lima for me has been, I think, the most underrated player this season. He's been for me amongst the best fullbacks in the world. Again, for natural midfielder to do as well as he's been doing, not just this season. I think again last season again goes under the radar, but he's so consistently brilliant for them. So huge credit to him. Olise had Kukurea on strings. Really, he was outstanding again. And I thought Kane, of course, put the finishing touches. So another convincing win. We know of Bayern's home record as well in Champions League group stage games. It's second to no one. Really, it's that good, and they got the job done again in the end rather comfortably. Moving on to Anfield, we saw a 3-2 thriller, and yet again, Lord behold, another last minute goal by Virgil van Dijk to seal another win for Liverpool. I think it was actually Liverpool's best performance this season. Given the circumstances, given how poorly they've played, I thought they were fairly good. Again, I feel a little bit for Atletico because they were 2-0 down inside the first 6 minutes. And it's very hard to recover from that, especially at Anfield. It's a tall order, but I thought Atletico showed great character and strength and mentality after that because they settled in the game. But again, they're just a little slow to get into the game. First goal was a farce, like it's just ridiculously lucky and fortunate how Robertson scored. The second goal as well was good finish by Salah, but good goal, but again came out of really nothing. So I thought they were a little bit hard done being 2-0 down so early without much. But again, like we've seen Liverpool against even in the Premier League, like teams get into the game eventually, and so did Atletico. They got a stranglehold of the game, and they just really grew into it. They're very comfortable, really, for most part of it. If we look at the the game, the context, and then of course Marco Llorente scored just before half time. Yeah, great goal. Simeone, the escape, the offside trap set by Liverpool well, and the strong finish by Llorente, who loves Anfield. His dog is named Anfield. He scored a lot of goals. Of course, we all remember the historic um, game at Anfield where Atletico knocked Liverpool out in the round of 16. So yeah, Llorente again at the heart of it with a fabulous goal, and again second goal again 2-2 in the 81st minute was another fabulous goal. It was a stunning finish, and yeah, I mean outstanding really from right back. I think he's so good. I've been one of Atletico's best players for a while now. I feel like for a good couple of years. He's Mr. Reliable. You can put him anywhere really, in midfield, in fullback areas, and you know what you're gonna get. And he was outstanding again. And it looked all set that Atletico were gonna rescue this game, get a well-deserved point. I thought at the end it would have been, even if Liverpool were probably the better team in general, open play. They had chances to put the game to bed. Salah hit the post when the game was still 2-1. But I thought again Atletico showed enough courage to get back and get something out of the game. But in the end, the pressure was there. The last 10 minutes they were hanging on a bit. They kind of went into the show, and that's always a dangerous thing to do against Liverpool. And yeah, come a corner, Virgil van Dijk, was always there. He's always there, and yeah, just an ever-present figure, fantastic header. Oblak had no chance. I thought it was still poor defensively. They have to do better, Atletico, because we know Van Dijk and Konate are the main threats. So you have to do a little bit better, in my opinion. Like it's too easy. But still, Van Dijk had a lot of work to do. He still had to put it away, and he did that really well. So huge credit to him. And yeah, I don't know, another fortuitous win under fortuitous circumstances. For Liverpool, but they just keep going. They keep finding a way, and I think that's a sign of champions. Maybe that's a sign of good sides, but they did a great job as always, and yeah, looked really strong. And again, then we saw PSG really just run ragged over Atalanta, who are still, not at their best. Um, of course, no Gasperini, huge changes. You had Edison missing as well, which was a huge loss. Scalvini um, did not start, which made no sense to me. I don't know, I mean, they were always up against it. Of course, PSG had a fair few injuries, but they were still more than good enough for Atalanta. Very emphatic, very dominant, and yeah, they looked every part of the European champions that they are. And lastly, Thursday's games. So firstly, huge shout out to Club Brugge and Frankfurt. I thought they were outstanding. I caught some glimpses of both those games, and Club Brugge, by the way, again have lost a lot of their players. They've lost a lot of starters. They've lost Dick Hoyper. They lost Tilby as well. I think he went to Sunderland. And for them, despite losing key starters to beat a side like Monaco, who are respectable, side in the fashion they did speaks volumes. Emphatic win. They were really all over them, and they deserved it. I mean, look at these statistics. They speak a story for itself. They really caught stuff from them, and yeah, huge credit. Honestly, I did not see that coming. Let alone that emphatic scoreline. Frankfurt again, they obliterated Galatasaray. They've been full of goals this season. Looking very good again, even in the Bundesliga. No Marmoush, no Ekitike, no problem. And I think that's what happens when you have a top scouting system, like they always have done. They recruit really well, and that's what they are benefiting and profiting off, because this man right here is a serious talent. Kanazun, I think, is one to watch. I think he's gonna have a big career, and he will be, I think, in the eyes and the interest of a lot of top clubs. He's been really good all season. I thought he was outstanding, and also I have to give a huge shout out to Collins as well. Again, really strong right back in a market where there isn't the greatest right backs. Especially in the market pool if you want to recruit someone. So I thought he was outstanding as well. Really strong performance all round. I mean, to be a Turkish Giants Galatasaray in the way they did, I think spoke volume. They were outstanding, clinical. They've been very clinical all season. But again, that speaks volume that of a top side. They've really made light work. Moving on to the Etihad, special occasion, of course, Kevin De Bruyne's homecoming. Um, but unfortunately for the Belgian great, it didn't go to plan and wasn't the homecoming he would have liked and wanted, because we saw an early red card courtesy Di Lorenzo. Really poor challenge. Holland was through on goal. A sensational pass, by the way, if you haven't seen, by Foden. He literally split open Napoli defense, and Holland ran through on goal. Di Lorenzo with a ill-timed challenge, and the writing was on the wall. It was a Stonewall red card, and since then, unfortunately, De Bruyne was the one who had to be sacrificed. And then it was just a one-way traffic. I thought even in the opening 20 minutes, though, I thought Man City looked good. They were slightly the better side, but of course, the red card changes things dramatically. And yeah, since then, it was just all Man City really very dominant. First half, I thought again Napoli did really well to keep it to 0-0, because Milinkovic Savic was outstanding on the night. I thought he prevented, a lot of goals. 2-0, it could have been 4-5 in the first half alone, but he was standing tall. I thought Bukema had a great game as well. So courtesy just those two, like they were in the game, they were hanging on, but it was always a matter of time. It was a matter of when, not if. And I think that's when Erling Haaland popped up with the first goal. Phil Foden with a very tidy assist. I want to see more of that great chipped ball and a really nice cushioning header by Erling Haaland. Milinkovic Savic really had no chance. And Since then, it was just again more of all Man City. They were able to recruit. They were able to replace some players and just take the foot off the gas. But that was before Jeremy Doku had other ideas. He was outstanding again. And yes, you could say it was up against 10 men, but that goal was a thing of real beauty, real class. He went past a couple of players and then a really strong, emphatic finish on his left foot. And that's something, we've been crying about with him. Can he have the finishing? Can he add the finishing touches? Can he add the end product, to his talent? And so far, so good this season. He's looked very bright on that front, and he delivered again. Very, very good goal, very comfortable, very dominant win for Manchester City, and a great start to their Champions League campaign. And lastly, to for me, like probably the biggest game of the round, just in terms of the narrative, the context, and what was at display was at St James's Park, and Barca 2, Newcastle 1. It was some game, honestly, really, really good open game. I thought Newcastle started with the better side. Um, First half I thought they were definitely the better side. But with Newcastle, as we've seen even in the league, they've struggled to score goals. There's been a lack of quality in front of goal, a lack of clinicality. Unfortunately for them, Baltimore wasn't quite fully fit to start. I think that was a blow. I was expecting him to start. That meant that Harvey Barnes had to play, and unfortunately, he missed a glorious chance. It was near enough an open goal. And again, we will speak on Juan Garcia, but he should be scoring. Gordon had a glorious chance as well, where Elanga put it on a plate for him, but he totally miskicked the ball. So, Newcastle only had themselves to blame. And again, at this elite level, when you're up against Barca, you have to take your chances because it's going to come back to bite you. And so it did. Because second half, I thought was a real masterclass by Barcelona. It was a footballing lesson, in my opinion, just how good, how dominant they were, and how they controlled the proceedings. And I've not seen any side in Europe or in the Premier League control a half like Barca did in that second half away from home at St James's Park, which is notoriously one of the toughest away grounds going around, like in Europe, in the Premier League. But they made that look ridiculously easy, and it was just a two-man show from Pedri and Frankie De Jong, who were just sensational. They really ran the show in the middle of the park. Both of them were, I thought, unplayable, and they both were the best players on the pitch. Pedri was the best player on the pitch, in my opinion. But it was closely followed by De Jong. Both were worked in tandem, and for all the pace and power, the industrious qualities that the Newcastle midfield has, they were nowhere. They couldn't get close to Pedri and De Jong. That was the fact of the matter. That second half, and that was just some performance to do that at St James's Park. It's some showing, honestly, and tells you about the quality they have. Um, but of course, Rashford did grab the headlines. He scored the first two goals really and gave Barca the difference they wanted to be. Now the first goal is very ironic actually because Rashford was for me amongst the most poor players on the pitch. He had a really poor first half, but again, really strong header to put Barca 1-0 up. Great cross by Koundé, but the equally good header. And then the second goal was a thing of real beauty, individual moment of brilliance. He had no right to score from the angle he did from 30 yards out, absolutely blasting it into top left corner. Pope had no chance. And before you know it, Barca were 2 goals good. But, you can't say they didn't deserve it because they were that dominant in the second half that, I thought they were well worthy of it. A late goal by Anthony Gordon, but it wasn't to be enough. Even after that, I thought, again, the added time was also another masterclass in its own sense because I've never seen Newcastle or any side really in recent times score a goal, right? 1 goal down, a 1 goal deficit, and we're heading into added time. I've not seen any side keep hold of the ball as well as Barca did. Like, it was genuinely ridiculous. Like, they could not get Newcastle could not get the ball of Barcelona. Pedri was running circles in at the time. Like they could not get the ball out of him, and that for me was just unbelievable. It was a real masterclass of how to just control the tempo, keep hold of the possession, and to do that again in those tough circumstances at a tough away ground is it tells you everything about Barca's credentials in this competition. Why I fancy them big time. Why I see them going the distance, going a long way. But yeah, really strong again. For Newcastle, I thought Livramento was good. Shaw was decent, but not a lot really to show for. But Barcelona had a lot of standout performers. Juan Garcia for me is already amongst the best goalkeepers in the world, and at 24 he has the potential to be an all-time great, and to be Barca's first choice keeper for over a decade even. He's that good. For me, he's also actually the most complete goalkeeper right now going around. Just given, he's got everything. He's got the shot stopping. He's got the passing ability. He can rush out from the goalkeeper. He can rush out really well, come out well. He's got unbelievable reactions. He's got a real cool head, cool, calm head. He's everything you want and you need from a goalkeeper. He's got the presence as well. He's not tiny at all. So he's the real deal for me. He always was. Anyone if you go saw the season last season he had at Espanyol single-handedly keeping them up. It's no surprise to me how good he's been from the word go, but still you have to give him a lot of credit. An incredible piece of work by Barca to finally get a goalkeeper of real substance and competence. I thought defensively as well, Araujo was really good. Koundé again, so consistent. Again, it'll go under the radar, but again, he's amongst the best right backs in the world, easily. How good he is. We spoke at length about Pedri, De Jong were sensational, and Rashford I thought was outstanding again. Since the goal, the confidence he got, and he really just thrived off it and delivered a sensational second half to give Barca the win. So really, really strong first round of Champions League games. Let me know in the comments below how you found it, key moments, the key matchups, how your favorite teams fared, which players caught your eye. And I can't wait for the second match day. It's almost amongst us now. So really looking forward to it. And a wonderful first viewing of the Champions League. So yeah, let me know in the comments below how you all found it. Do like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.